On last week's Search for a Star, we were asked to find a player who could fill in at a halfback for less than £30 million, who was also earning less than £250,000 a week, who also wasn't an actual halfback. Obviously, Matt Doherty was number one choice. Roberto Firmino was a surprise suggestion from Aaron. Aaron, did you use Firmino as a halfback, or did you use one of your other picks? And can you also remind us of what those 5 key attributes for a halfback were?
No, I didn't go for Roberto Firmino, only because it meant I would have had to been Liverpool, which I didn't really want to do. So I went with one of the wonder kids instead. So the 5 key attributes that we are looking at: 1 technical attribute, which is dribbling; 2 mental attributes, anticipation and decisions; and the last 2 are physical, strength and stamina.
Excellent. And what was the player that you chose then? You're saying you've got a wonder kid. Let's see what you got.
So the wonder kid that I used, his name is Gabri Veiga. He plays for Celta de Vigo. That's the team that I chose. Rather than signing him, he was already there. He was playing as a halfback. Of course, that's the whole point. And he was in a 4-4-2 diamond. So looking at his player data, he's actually completed the most passes. He was also the most accurate with his passes. And that's in the whole of La Liga. So imagine he's making more passes than all the Barca midfielders, the Real Madrid midfielders as well. Looking at the passing progression, he's accurate and he makes a high number of progressive passes. Now looking at his general performance, which is comparing to La Liga average, the other midfielders in the league, of course, he is playing a lot of progressive passes, 7.36 to be exact, and his pass completions at 94.55% to be exact. So Gabri Veiga, very, very good. He starts at 20 years of age, and he played fantastically well at Celta de Vigo, playing 34 games, 1 goal, 1 assist in La Liga.
Nice, man. I like that. And this is the thing. So you always seem to get the players who work really well. Like I went with a team that I've not managed before. I went with Racing Club Lens in France, because I went with Facundo Medina. Now, ideally a ball-playing defender. Okay, but of course we moved him up a little bit further on into this halfback role because we said he had all the attributes to play there. I was playing in a formation that I'm not massively familiar with, I'll be honest. I went initially with a 3 at the back system, and then had sort of like almost a little Christmas tree maybe, but then I decided to switch it to a 4 at the back with a half-back and then 2 midfielders and a striker up top. He did all right, 39 appearances, he scored 1 goal, he got an average rating of 6.92. He only managed 4.17 progressive passes per 90, so that's not really as good as Vega there. His pass completion was 59.9% per 90, a 90% pass completion overall. He had 4.38 possessions lost per 90 minutes, but then he won the ball back 16.26 times, so not bad, but not great. Overall was the main problem, because even though we were holidaying and simulating through, it was another one of those where I didn't get to see out the full season. They changed manager. I don't know why they changed manager, but it can't be because Medina played at halfback. But maybe I was not really enjoying my time in France. But by the time the holiday had finished, they had someone else in charge, and he was playing as a ball-playing defender. So I don't know. Maybe Medina can play there. Maybe he can't. But we tried.
I mean, there's some similarities, right? The passing and the passing completion rate as well. So we are seeing kind of, with the results, we are seeing what they are doing in the game and in the match engine. They play a lot of passes, but they also play high percentage passes. They don't like to lose the ball. They just like to play the ball safely.
Yeah, that's the thing. I thought he was a bit too defensive, and he probably wasn't. He's probably more of a defender than a halfback. But never mind. You know, this is the thing. It's an experiment, isn't it? We tried. That was last week, though. Halfbacks are done. Right. This week, brand new role, brand new suggestion. So it's come from Matt Atkinson, Matzov Ivanov on Twitter. He said last week, remember, he's been dabbling with an enganche. Now, this is a role that I've looked at, not used a lot, I'll be honest. Probably used slightly more with South American sides, would you say?
Yeah, I haven't used it, by the way. I haven't used it, especially in FM23, but as soon as I see the name of the role, I just think Pablo Aimar, Riquelme, one of my favourites, Ortega as well, who, by the way, scored one of the most outrageous goals I've ever seen. I'm around 30 years of age now, and I'm still trying to recreate that goal. That goal was about 23 years old now. But you could make the case as well. James Maddison, a lot of people are going to be more familiar with James Maddison. Just picture him a few seasons back, attacking midfielder, sitting in the hole between the midfield and the attack. But he was that hook, and he was turning, playing those through passes into Jamie Vardy. We see a lot of that. And yeah, a vital thing about the Enganche is that he always has a passing option, whether it's a darting wing back, an advanced forward, or even a target forward.
Absolutely. And the key word you said there, the hook. That's the main description, isn't it, of an Enganche. Now, also what we should think as well, Enganche plays slightly different in FM than it does in real life as well, doesn't it? So we are, of course, looking at some specific attributes for FM only. So, Aaron, if you could break those down as to what we're looking for, our 5 key attributes for a decent Enganche.
Well, I've actually picked 3 mental attributes, and the reason being is that it's an unusual role. It's a creator that is stationary, and the team heavily relies on his ability to find space to always be an option. They are playmakers, but they are also the team's focal point. The team relies on them to be consistent and always switched on. So everything goes through him, and the team relies on him, which is the reason why I've chosen 3 mental attributes. Those are off the ball. They have to have, they're holding their position, which is hard-coded in the game. So the player's availability is key. Teamwork, everything revolves around them. They must be able to work as a team, of course, and composure. To be able to perform creative actions with quality, the player needs to be composed. Technique, passing, and vision attributes, that's a given for a playmaker. So imagine mixing those attributes with composure. Amazing stuff. We've got 1 technical attribute, first touch. They need to be able to trap the ball under pressure. They will be responsible for making sure things in the attacking third keeps ticking. A bad touch, of course, will result in a loss of possession. And lastly, balance. This is kind of linked with first touch. They will be seeing a lot of the ball. Defenders will recognise this. Attacking midfielders will be seen as a threat and can be under pressure as soon as they receive the ball. So good balance, making sure they keep possession under challenges, and it keeps the team ticking in the final third.
Excellent. And of course, remember, we're looking for an Enganche who isn't an Enganche, because that would be too easy. We're going to try and find someone who plays a different role and try and fit them into this role. We've set ourselves a budget of £30 million. So, Aaron, one more time. Let's search for a star, shall we? Search for a star. We still don't have a theme tune. We might get one eventually, but not yet. Right, Aaron, should we go with you first? Or, you take us away. You take us away with your first pick today.
Okay, so I will get my ex-Tottenham player out of the way first. Stephen Nzonzi, who now plays for Al Rayyan. He's 33 years of age. He can be bought between 750k and 7.6 million pound. One thing I did notice when searching for this star was the wages. We always talk about the transfer value. We never talk about the wages, and he's earning 200 grand a week. So you might want to ask him for a wage reduction. But now let's focus on his attributes. First touch, 15. He's got the passing, he's got the technique. He can tackle and mark, by the way. If you're high pressing and you want to mark out their DM, Nzonzi may be the perfect candidate there. He can read the game. He's got great off-the-ball movement, great anticipation. He makes the right decisions. His composure is on 17. He's always composed. He's got great vision, 16. He's strong on the ball with 16 balance, 16 strength, and his jumping reach is 18. So not only have you got a nice creative player here, but you've also got a secret weapon in getting the ball into the box. His player traits, he likes to dictate the tempo. He comes deep to get the ball. Everything that you want from your hook.
And 6'5".
Yes.
Oh, perfect. That's what we like. Right, okay. Stephen Nzonzi, I'm a big fan. I'm a big fan of Stephen Nzonzi. I'm also a massive fan of £200,000 a week as well. So I don't feel so bad now if I've messed this one up. One that I'm going to go for, which is a player who I used to use loads back in previous FMs. So again, kind of fits that Nzonzi mould. A player who is tearing it up in Liga MX these days as a centre forward, Andre Pierre Gignac. 6'1". Granted, he's a striker, okay, but he can do everything we need an enganche to do. Look at this, off the ball down here. Work rate, you're talking jump and reach, it's only 13, but you know, it's reasonable. Balance of 17. Ooh. Off the balls of 16. I mean, this guy's got it all. Concentration, composure, bravery, decision making. I mean, it feels a shame to take him away from his main focus, which is scoring goals, given the fact that he's got 146 and 254 for Tigres. But by the time he reaches 39, okay, which is in about 3 years' time, his legs might start to go. Yeah. He might just want to hook and be the guy who, like, is the link-up. And he's a bargain. 65 grand a week. You know, you can get 3 of those for the cost of Steven Nzonzi.
I leave my Steven alone. But that's the thing, like you touched on, these faces. But now, if we're thinking that we're in the top 5 leagues, for an example, and we're looking for, like, we're not going to look at Gignac to be a striker, are we? We're looking at his mobility and we're thinking, we can play somewhere else there. So we actually might want to drop him back one step into that hook, and he can play that role fantastically well. But he can also score goals for you as well. So not only can he create, he's got 14 long shots as well. So he can also pinch a goal here and there for you as well.
High work rate as well. So it could be an option.
Ball winning midfielder.
Ball winning midfield. There you go. There you go. So many options. Speaking of options, what's number 2 for you?
Number 2, free signing. Oh my God, I just noticed, people. It's another ex-Tottenham player. Fernando. What is up with these Tottenham players? Fernando Loriente, 37 years of age. The best thing about Fernando Loriente is that he's completely free. He's a free transfer. You can sign him with no transfer fee. Now we're looking at these enganche attributes. His first touch is on 14, pass on 13. He's got good technique there as well. Good vision, good off-the-ball movement, anticipation. Again, reading the game really, really well. High composure, high decision-making. So when the team really needs to count on him, you can count on Fernando Loriente. He plays with his back towards the goal as well. I'm just picturing him receiving the ball to his feet, quickly turning and laying it off to a running winger or even your advanced forward. He's balanced as well. 18, another player that's really, really strong on the ball. Just imagine him, an attacking midfielder. Kind of a withdrawn target forward, right? He's like not that far ahead, but he's a midfielder and he can just hold up the ball with his big self. So my second pick for Search for a Star this week, Fernando Loriente.
Love it. I love the fact it's a free transfer as well. And I almost love it's an ex-Tottenham player, because that winds you up a treat. My second suggestion, we're going to go to Hoffenheim and we're going to have a look at Christoph Baumgartner. Now, 22-year-old Austrian advanced playmaker by trade, but for me, more of an enganche, possibly. He's available, 25 grand a week, bargain wages. He's available for potentially £18 million. He's got what we're looking for. Determination, work rate, off the ball at 16, first touch is good, technique is good. He just needs a move. What are we reckoning? Could he fulfill that role? He's not quite as tall as I'd like. He's less than 6 foot, but you know, it's got to be something different, right?
I love how we just we're trying to create a new role now, aren't we? Enganche, but he has to be good in the air. It's enganche, but be good in the air, please. Yeah. But yeah, I like this guy. Like we said as well, shining Search for a Star. They can't be shining in their role already, and I don't believe this guy is necessarily someone that is shining in their role. We're looking at the creative stats attributes. Sorry, people. I know it's attributes. His first touch and dribblings on 14, 13. His flares on 12. He's not. Now, if we're using an advanced playmaker, you're expecting him to do things, dribble with the ball, beat players, and all of that. That's why we think he's not exactly shining as a creative playmaker. But as a hook, when the team's around him, he doesn't necessarily need that dribbling, or he doesn't necessarily need that flair. He just needs to be cool, composed, which he is, balance, good on the ball, which he is. And yeah, he will be a very good enganche for us.
And he's got a vision of 15 as well.
Oh, yes.
So as you say, if he can put his foot on the ball, turn around, then pick his pass,
Yes.
could be quite a handy little player.
Yes. And don't forget, Bundesliga is one of the top 5 leagues in Europe as well. So if you are using a creative playmaker, you want that playmaker to really stand out. And I don't believe this guy, as an advanced playmaker, really stands out again, which is why we have him as an enganche. And my third pick today is Alex Grimaldo. He plays for Benfica. A lot of us may buy him as a left back, but today we are going to be using him as an attacking midfielder in enganche. Creatively, we all know how great Grimaldo can be on Football Manager. He can take corners as well. He can take free kicks for you. He can take long shots. His passing, technique, and vision all on 16. He's got great balance on the ball, great decision making and composure. He's available from £13.5 million to £22 million. His wages as well, surprisingly low. I say surprisingly low. I am not earning anywhere near £27 a pound a week. But
how does he survive?
But he's earning £27,000 a week. Yes, he's an attacking fullback, but he can also be a creative midfielder as well. Do you like my pick, Tony?
I love your pick. It's your boy, innit? Grimaldo was always going to be there.
Yeah, he's always.
You know, if there was ever an option of you getting Grimaldo in it, then it just has to happen. I love Grimaldo. I think he's superb as well. I think, yeah, great pick indeed. Again, good vision, good first touch, good balance, good composure. He's got everything you need, you know what I mean? And what a player, what a player. For me, my third pick is a player I've not used before, but a player that I looked at, and he looks quite interesting, to be honest. It's a player called, and get this for a pronunciation, Jurgen Ekkelenkamp. Dutch midfielder, currently playing in Antwerp in Belgium. 6'2". I'm back on my big lads again. Okay, 15 for balance, 15 for concentration. First touch is 15. Teamwork is 15. Off the ball is 16. He plays as a central midfielder. But is he an elite central midfielder? No. Could he play a little bit higher? Maybe.
Yeah. Absolutely. His finishing's on 15 as well. It's a secret weapon. I know a lot of people might look at him and think, yes, central midfielder on attack. And then you look at his physicals. His accelerations on 11. It's not great, but it's not poor. And for me, when I'm using a central midfielder on attack, I like my players to be agile. He can get into the box quickly and get there in time as well, which he may struggle with, especially in the top league as well. So an enganche, again, it's not a really physical demanding role. You're not expecting him to be sprinting left, right and centre. So he will perform very, very well. He likes to move into channels as well. Enganche, they do like to hold position, but in Football Manager, I believe that's more about swapping positions with players, as it says on the game as well. If you hover over, roam from position, it's a lot about swapping players, swapping position with another player. So move into channels actually may work with his off-the-ball movement in finding spaces and areas to receive the ball and be effective. So I think he can be a really, really good enganche.
Excellent. Oh, well, I'm glad about that. That seems like an excellent one. And I do have to say as well, just before we wrap this section up, of course, Matt Doherty can also be an enganche, because of course he can. Like, he can do everything.
Yeah, he can. He's got the dribbling this time as well, but passing, technique, vision, off the ball is on 16, anticipation. He can read the game well. I mean, we're going to say this every week, but there's nothing that he cannot do in the game.
Ayo. So if you can't pick an enganche out of any of those, go for Matt Doherty. That's what you do. Right. So I think that's fun. Let's do what we always do. We're going to run those simulations. We'll come back on the next episode with our findings, and we'll tell you whether or not we've found an enganche where there was no enganche, first of all. If you want us to search for a star for you, then of course do what we always ask. Send us a tweet with the role that you're looking for us to search for, ideally what team you're currently managing, and then we will hopefully search for a star for you in the new year.